jolly good.
Hello, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Clinton Joker. Welcome to another My Thoughts On, and excuse me. Today I'm going to be talking about Amy, the 2015 documentary bio, biograph story about late British singer Amy Winehouse. And it basically just tells the story of how she went from just a girl who just likes to write songs and how she became pretty huge and then how she became rather controversial. I'm not really into documentaries that much, but the last one I watched, which was Feels Good Man, the one about Pepe the Frog, was really, really good, and I was interested to see what this was all about. Obviously, it's about Amy Winehouse, but I was wondering what else could they add to this. This won the Oscar for Best Documentary Feature. It's quite cool. So yeah, let's get into it. I'm not going to talk too much because when it comes to documentaries, A, I think people should watch it themselves, and B, there's not really too much I can say about it. But the documentary is, as expected, interesting. It uses lots of archives footage and even broadcast footage, like from BBC and all that, wherever, and gigs as well, where Amy's been performing her songs as well. And I should probably put it out there that I'm not a fan of Amy Winehouse. I mean, don't get me wrong, I think her voice is absolutely just gorgeous. She has a great singing voice, but in reality, she has this like very North London talk in it. Do you know what I mean? And all that. It's like Cockney, isn't it? I think so. So she did a couple of songs. She did Back to Black, and then she did one I think called Valerie, and then she did another song as well, but I forgot what it's called. So I do remember Amy Winehouse, just not very well, kind of vaguely. So it basically so in the documentary there are people that are either going to tell people who are interviewing them what happens with Amy Winehouse, and pretty much from their COVID from I don't know why I said COVID for from their experiences and their close connections with Amy. So there's parents. He's got boyfriend, producers, even security guard as well. And then the documentary goes into so much detail into what happened and all that has happened in terms of news, controversy, even infamously Amy's drug slash alcohol addictions as well, and eventually leading up to her death as well, which is quite sad, really. She died of too much alcohol, and unlike some documentaries, to my knowledge, I don't think you can see the dead body, but here you can see, I think, paramedics or police just carrying out her body, but it's covered. But it's like, yeah, I knew she died, but then looking at that, I'm like, oh god. To be fair, she has lived a very great legacy because she was quite popular back in the day. Um, the short, the I keep saying, what do I keep saying short for? The documentary is well presented for the most part. It's nicely edited. The archive footage is quite good, and it does give us a little bit more of what goes on with Amy Winehouse in terms of what she does with her friends, and obviously this happens with lots of celebrities. Paparazzi crowd, people with cameras, and when a celebrity walks out, there's like lots of flashes and lots of click, 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 lots of photos with the camera, and then she gets in the car as well, and then we get to see and hear what the parents think as well, and what everyone's saying about Amy Winehouse. It is incredibly interesting. Absolutely incredibly interesting. Excuse me. The documentary is slightly over 2 hours, which makes sense, I suppose, because it's not exactly huge, but it does give us just enough to know about the actual life of Amy Winehouse, and it is really 100% fascinating. Um, and even Amy Winehouse herself seems. I know she's dead, but she seems like a very lively, nice, down to earth lady as well. Um, it, there are a couple of funny bits with Amy Winehouse. There are a couple of bits where it actually made me a bit uncomfortable, especially. I mentioned this in the Joker review 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I'm not a fan of when someone or a character looks very unwell and very thin, very skinny. You know when someone doesn't eat that much and they look quite skinny and it looks like they haven't eaten anything in like a few days. That's what really puts me off. It's just very uncomfortable to look at. And Amy Winehouse, I will admit, although she is absolutely gorgeous, she's a really stunning lady. But I don't know whenever she does those drugs and drinks, it's like, it's a bit uncomfortable. But to be fair, she was kind of a fucked up lady in a way, as well. Especially when she couldn't. She went on stage, doesn't really want to sing. She gets booed by the crowd. She had a very, very interesting legacy in life, I must say. Not much else to say about it. A really good documentary, I think. Personally, Feels Good Man's better, but this is still genuinely wonderful. Um, Amy is a really wonderful, really well put together uh, documentary. It's informative, it's interesting. You learn a lot. It's visually nicely done. It's got good archive footage and everyone's input that were part of Amy's life and the ones that knew her very well as well. It's just a really stunningly great. Oh, excuse me. It's just a very well put together documentary, and I will give it. What should I give it? I'll give it a 9.5 out of 10. I don't think it's perfect, since I think it can be rather inconsistently clunky and it does get a bit uncomfortable, but not like good uncomfortable, just more like uncomfortable. There's a difference between just enjoyably uncomfortable and then just weird uncomfortable. But it is a very good documentary, and if you are a fan of Amy Winehouse, I just assume you've seen it already. But if you haven't, do give it a watch. It's really fascinating, really is. So yeah, that was Amy. Interesting documentary, I must say. So next week I'm going to be talking about the Ice Age sequels, all four of them, and eventually Tom and Jerry the movie, the 2020 21 or 2021 film. The Tom and Jerry film that came out quite recently. I'll be talking about that as well. Because Blue Sky, well, for the Ice Age sequels, Blue Sky has recently shut down. Well, Disney shut them down, which is sad. But I'm going to be talking about pretty much the rest of their films. So, Ice Age sequels, robots, and then Epic. And I think that's all of them. Yeah. So it'll be quite interesting. So if you have watched Amy, what do you think about it? Is it good, bad, decent? Do you want to see it? And are you a fan of Amy Winehouse? Do you like her songs? Let me know below. And as always, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe. And until next time, bye for now.